Conditionality is great because it makes debate hard. It leads to hard debate. It causes the ass who has all the time in the world to prepare their ass, write their 1AC, make it sweet, and all they have to do is answer a couple counterplans, and their complaining is a bit harder. We want debate to be hard. We want it to be educational. We want it to push people into thinking things outside of the box, right? If it was easy, then it'd be called dramatic interpretation. Right? Josh, yeah. Oh, Joseph. You had a question?
No.
Okay. This strategy skew argument can also be answered. People often answer this with the idea of strategic thinking, which is similar to what I just said, but this has to be called strategic thinking. Conditionality forces the affirmative and the negative to make strategic choices, and that's all pretty good, I think. All right. They say argumentative irresponsibility. This is the second argument. Unconditional counterplans, I'm just going to end that term here. Counterplans lead to bad decisions. It is a bad model of decision making to not be able to kick the counterplan. I'll prove why. Plan. Tristan goes to Burger King and eats a cheeseburger. Cheeseburger. Counterplan. Tristan goes to J-Box. We're all familiar with the J-Box? It's another restaurant. And eats a cheeseburger. But in the 2MC, it's proven that all beef that day contained E. coli. At both J-Box and the Burger King, there was E. coli. Should the judge have to pick one or the other of these to vote for? No. Kristen, you're shaking your head no. No. You want to get a coli? You don't. Oh, okay. So what option might the judge have then?
Air to the app, I guess.
Air app?
Just, I don't know.
Go to first? Okay, well, maybe what else could you do?
Or,
Well, if you're not going to do the plan or the counterplan, what are you going to do? What does the neg usually have to do? What's the dad?
just defend the status quo.
Defend the status quo. Status quo, oh, phew. What would the status quo here be? No cheeseburgers, right? No cheeseburgers. This is a preferable option, isn't it? Eating no cheeseburgers. Now, Tristan may be hungry, but at least he doesn't have E. coli, right? Seems better, right? Hungry would be like the advantage to F, right? Hungry is the advantage, right? And the counterplan tries to solve that, right? Yes? The status quo doesn't solve hungry, but at least it avoids the big disadvantage. to not have to choose between two bad options. Option 1 is bad, option 2 is bad. But whoa, this is what most people would call logical policy making. But I think that it kind of blends in here to this argument, to an argument about education as well, that I'd like to make. To answer this advocacy, real-world education schnock, right? The argument I like to make is that these kind of decisions here, choosing between two choices, are things that we, as people, rather than as advocates, but just as people who make decisions about our lives, it teaches us to be better decision makers. Rather than making irrational decisions, right? If we had to stick with two bad options every single time we made a decision, that'd be pretty bad for life, right? Also, okay, for instance, here's another good example. So say you're a congressperson, even in the advocacy situation, and you've got a whole big bill, and someone proves that like one part of it is bad. Are you not allowed to like get rid of that one part?
Oh.
No. You can. You go, okay, well, I'll revise my position, right? Conditionality exists in the real world all the time. All right? So like a defense attorney also says, like, my client didn't do it, but even if he did, he's crazy. See how that's conditionality too? They're taking two positions. They first got the counter plan, and then another counter plan. Didn't do it, crazy, right? All right. Any questions about this? Oh, also, to answer this bad argument business here, you can say that just not running bad argument solves that. It solves it. Or how about, hey, judge, don't vote for really unethical bad arguments. I'd like to understand what I'm talking about. Okay. Now, so point 4. Acting conditionality. This one is a little more tricky, but not really. Think about it. Act conditionality is way worse. And I can prove this by asking you one thing. What is the thing that you ask for from the other team, first of all, before any debate, when you're negative and they are affirmative? You go through the asking them, what do you ask them for? The plan text. Why is that? It's what they're advocating to do. Do they have to defend the entire resolution? They have to defend the entire resolution? No. All right, so like, if this year you chose just to do space exploration and the negative read a dispatch of space development, does the app have to say, okay, well, I guess we have to defend space development too? No. No, why? It says or, right, in the resolution? In the old days, the app had to defend the whole resolution, like in LD. And those guys are suckers, right? Because they have to defend the whole resolution. Did you know that? It's true. It's true. So, we just defend the plan. It's called a plan-focused world of debate. The next job in a plan-focused world of debate is not to say that the resolution is bad, right? Like we said, we can't just come up and say random parts of the resolution are bad, right? Like last year, if someone was reading an Afghanistan app, we couldn't read Japan dissets, right? We had to prove that the plan is bad when we're negative, right? So the neg ballot just equals is simply not the plan. Which means that act conditionality doesn't would totally be way worse for the entirety of the debate than neg conditionalities, where the neg's only burden is that they have to prove that the plan is bad, right? And then you get back to the question of whether or not they can effectively prove that by justifying the rest of the whole conditionality debate. All right, we got like 3 minutes, I think. I want questions. Kind of gone a little fast here, but I wanted to get through all of these arguments. Yeah.
Can you explain that again, the affirmative conditionality, why it's good?
Well, act conditionality is way worse than neg conditionality. It doesn't justify it because we kind of have this plan focus that determines the rest of the debate, right? So the act can't get rid of their plan because it determines every other part of the debate. Sort of like, is it the fulcrum? I don't know, who's taking physics? Or the thing where it's in the middle where everything rotates around it? I don't know.
Sure.
I'm really bad at science. Okay. So it's a part of the debate where everything kind of spins around that, right? And so the neg doesn't have that burden. They just have to prove that the plan is bad, right? So the act would be totally getting rid of all of their burden or their responsibility if they kick the plan. The neg's only responsibility is to prove that the plan is bad, right? So see the difference? And conditionality in that world, you'd have to get to all of these other reasons to figure out whether conditionality was good or bad. All right. I'm going to make one further argument. It's going to blow your mind. Consider it fun. All right. What is the impact of conditionality? What does it mean? So say something goes horribly wrong, and you lose all of these arguments. And the act wins all of these arguments. Tristan just crushes us.
Then
What happens? What does the judge do with that information?
I go app because the neg conceded that they destroy education and things like that.
Because the neg considers it. Okay, because they
Or, like,
destroyed
they
some
lost
education,
all
they
of
should
it.
lose?
Or if they, would it be specific to the counterplan again?
It depends. It depends. My personal opinion is that the counterplan should just become unconditional then. The act is only proven that the counterplan should have been unconditional in the first place, which should be the impact of that argument. This is kind of crazy. Most people don't believe this. But if you made this argument, I think that you would trick a lot of people because you can even ask two ways, like what's the impact? Like, can our counterplan just be unconditional then if you win these arguments? I don't think they have a reason why that's not the case.
What if there was like a voter on?
Oh, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying voters are silly.
Okay.
All right? I think voters don't make sense. And I think that in this case, you probably could say that there's not a voting issue, and rather the counterplan should become unconditional, which is really what the act wants in the first place. And the reason why that's the case is that is like, oh, but then we wasted all our time making this theory argument. Do we have to make this theory argument? I don't think so. Kind of just proves this whole time strategy skew thing, right, doesn't it? They're the one who decided to waste all their time making a silly theory argument, didn't they? All right, in the back, your question.
If the app asks what the status is and you say conditional, can you still do what you said?
Yeah. I mean, be careful. This is a dangerous weapon. Okay. Yes, you can. You can say it's conditional, and with the 2A says conditionality is bad. You should say, what's the impact of conditionality bad? Can it just be that the counterplan becomes unconditional? And see what they say. They'll probably say no voting issue, right? But then you can debate that out. You can also just say reject the argument on the team, right? But the question is, what are you rejecting when you say conditionality is bad? In this case, you'd be rejecting the conditional nature of the counterplan, right? Yeah.
Will they just give you on like a voting issue for dropping an argument and bring it back up?
I don't think you'd be dropping it if you did this. You'd be answering